you should get a really even, really uniform bubble. Now this is critical because this will be the foundation for our piece. So he blows through the pipe, he's trapped the air with his thumb, that air is pressurized, it's expanding, Manny's helping, he's using the force, and we now have a bubble. It's like he used his own mind. Now what happened was that air just expands from the heat of the glass and pushes its way into the soft material. The air will always follow the path of least resistance while we're inflating. So this is hardened, and when it hardens, it will allow us to support much more glass on its surface. So we're always building our glass up in layers. We could make something like a stem. If you look on our screens, oh, that's not the right button. There we go. If you look on the screens, you can see an animation of what it looks like inside of our furnace. This furnace holds 1,000 pounds of glass, and to collect the glass, we dip the pipe down beneath the surface, and we turn and we spool or wind on that additional material. So when Andrew comes back, now he has twice the amount of material from what he started with. So if he wanted, we could let this layer cool. We could go back 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Now he's going to organize this glass as well. This time he switches to a wooden scoop tool called a block. These are wooden blocks carved from cherry wood, but they're wet. We keep them wet all the tool. That helps us organize the glass as well. So we get a really uniform shape this way. Again, when we continue inflating, this will inflate evenly. If we push the glass off to one side, for example, when we blow this up, we'll have one area that's thinner and one area that's thicker. So everything that we do now translates to the furnace. We do turn that off at night. It takes about an hour, hour and a half to warm up in the morning. The melting furnace, though, it stays on all the time. And this melting furnace is pretty new. We turned this on in March, and we'll probably use it for 8 years or so. We just replaced one, and it had been running since January 1st of 2 years. So it will start to cool faster, means our working time will begin to shorten. We do that sometimes, but he's not interested in the showmanship. He is interested in the quality glass making, and I respect that as well. But he was using that gravity to stretch, swing the pipe back and forth. Honestly, the only reason I said that. When we swing the glass back and forth, it does help increase that. Around for about 4,000 years. Blown glass, about 2,000 years. We actually have a brand new exhibition all about this. It's within our 35 Centuries gallery exhibition. So if you go upstairs, and you get to the top here, if you turn to the right, and then you make your first left, there's a big glass egg. It's kind of a gray egg. Now we're using natural gas. A lot of people saw a constriction in this glass, so he used these steel tools. He squeezed another crease in, and then he compressed the glass back onto itself to create an internal ring. So there's an internal fold on the inside of it. Together, they almost begin. But that's something that those ancient glass makers did a lot of as well. They used a lot of folding techniques, which worked on adding a little bit more glass. I think we're going to add some additional material on extra glass over, and this will be attached. So hot glass sticks to other hot things. This glass that Andrew has is still well over 1,000 degrees. It looks like it's just room temperature clear glass, but it is still very hot. So that glass that Manny brings just sticks right onto the bottom. And Manny let it drip a little bit off the end of the pipe. So while Andrew is making a beautiful foot, Manny's making beautiful spaghetti art. Just let that glass drip all over the floor. Actually, that's what most of us make our first day in the glass studio. We try to make things, and the glass just ends up in a puddle on the floor. You'll notice that Andrew's been turning this pipe the entire time. And that's actually one of the really difficult things that we have to learn when we first start blowing glass. It's how to turn a pipe all the time. It seems simple, but nothing that we do every day translates into that dexterity or that motor skill of turning something all the time. So it takes a long time to learn. It takes a long time to build up the muscle memory to do that. A broom or a pool cue, probably really anything round, you would probably just start turning it around the edge of the foot, so a little added flair. But now we're going to break the glass off of that blowpipe. So this is where that constriction to break glass. But if the overall temperature of the vessel is not quite right, we can go to break the glass free. The whole thing can shatter. If that punty is too hot, it will permanently fuse. We can't break it free at the end. If it's too cold, we can break the glass off of the blowpipe, and it also falls off of the punty. So there are a lot of variables. But a couple drops of water create thermal stress, cools the glass really quickly, and then a light tap is all it takes to break that piece free. So that was a smooth and successful transfer. I so give you a round of applause for a job well done, successful glass breaking. Yeah, any other questions? Yeah. How do we get the colors of the glass? Usually at the very beginning is when we'll add the colors. So before we even start the bubble, oftentimes, we'll roll our molten glass through these pieces of crushed up color. So this is glass color. So these little pieces will stick. It's like sprinkles on ice cream. So we can roll the molten glass through here. They stick. We go to glasscolor.com and we can order all of those colors. That's the real website. You can look it up. But the different colors, that company that we get our glass from, it's distributed also from Washington State, but we get the color, it's manufactured in Germany, and they will add different metals into the clear glass recipe, and different metals create the different colors. So, for example, iron oxide gives us green glass. It's fairly inexpensive, but pink glass is made with gold. So pink glass is very expensive. So typically during the week, I will use green glass, and then on the weekend, the bosses are not here, so then I will use pink glass because it's expensive. Andrew, it's soft, it's malleable, it's a little bit spongy. It feels like cutting through a sponge or perhaps an orange peel just with normal shears. So we can cut through the glass, and we usually do that to thin out or refine that top edge. Oftentimes when we break that glass from the pipe, Manny brings some glass over to Andrew. We're just going to stick this right on the top, and he'll begin to stretch it out. And as soon as he cuts, you'll see him turn and let that glass hang towards the ground. If he doesn't, that glass can fall back onto itself. You can see how wiggly it still is. He's able to pinch it, curl it, stretch it, and then place it right down on the top. So he's made a little handle, and I would say that he's handled that nicely. Putting handles on are very challenging, so he's got a nice little handle. Now, one handle is the same temperature. As long as Manny does that, then Andrew's life is a little bit easier as well. But the first handle, you can put it on wherever you want, however you want. So the second one, I want it to match. Here we go. Place that second handle on, stretch it out just the same. He gives it a little crimp. When he crimps and pulls up, that pulls it to a nice tapered point. And then turning, that helps stretch and elongate that handle a bit as well. Here we go, two handles, a little curl, a little stretch. Places it right back down. I'd say he did a really nice job. Let's give him another round of applause. Well done, two matching handles. One of the tricks is to put that second handle on a little bit smaller bottle with some handles. The final step, though, is actually the longest step of the process. We're all done with this, but we do want to slowly cool the glass so that we can save it. If we let it sit in the open air, in a matter of minutes, it will cool down too quickly. It will shrink, the glass will contract, it will crack and break. So we'll put this into an oven called the annealer. It's 965 degrees, and we will anneal our glass. We'll slowly cool it, so we'll see this again tomorrow. So another couple drops of water creates thermal stress once again right at that connection point. A light tap should do the trick. Breaks off perfectly. And we will get this loaded away, and we will see this beautiful bottle again tomorrow. There we have it. Safe and sound. Lovely job. Let's hear it one more time for Andrew and Manny. Nicely done. Any final questions? Yeah.
Do you reuse the glass in case something broke or it's not up to par?
Sure, yeah. If something breaks, or that glass that we turned off, we'll reuse it. We'll put it right back into the furnace, and we'll melt it back down. So we do that with our clear glass. If the glass has color in it, we send that off to a local contractor. They grind the glass up, and they'll mix it into concrete and asphalt. So they'll use it for things like roads and sidewalks. So if you're driving out of Corning tonight,
how much money do you make, and do you love your job?
How much money do we make?
Yeah.
Do we love our job? We make enough, and I love my job. Yeah.
कहीं मेरे लाल कलर कहीं कट गया